So I'm Ashley Berger. I recently got married, so if you see emails come through with Ashley Unger, same person. Hopefully there's no confusion there. I work with DSD, so we've been one of the top Sage 100 developers for over 30 years now. We have over 500 enhancements and have done thousands of custom programming projects. So today I'll be going over some of our newest enhancements. And the first one happens to be our Payroll InstaDocs, which is our PRDM, and it's our document management solution. I will be going over the Payroll InstaDocs, but I will also show off InstaDocs a little more in depth with our other modules before Payroll. For those of you who have seen InstaDocs before, you'll still want to stick around. I'm going to definitely point off some of the newer features we've added so you guys can be sure that you're utilizing all those new features that we've put in the product. But InstaDocs is our electronic document management solution, and documents can be stored, viewed, and accessed within Sage 100. And first and only document management solution that we've been able to embed into the Sage 100 screens. And it's our top selling product, and there was a lot of demand to add it to Payroll. So here it is. Next, we're going to be sticking along the lines of Payroll. We have our Criterion Link. So if you guys are using Criterion, there's now a link between your Sage 100 and your Criterion. So there's an employee synchronization, a payroll tax calculation, and a bulk synchronization. The next one is new history inquiries. So we have in history inquiries for BankRec transaction history, for cash receipts history inquiry, and payroll check history. And I will be showing off that payroll check history is also going to be working with your InstaDocs, so you can see that the InstaDocs tab in the payroll check history as well and be able to get to all those check stubs. Next two are our auto-generate transactions. So we can auto-generate checks from vendor maintenance, and we can auto-generate cash receipts from customer maintenance. So if you're working in the screens and you're on that customer and they sent you a check or you need to do a payment, you can do it from that one screen instead of going all the way into your checks or your cash receipts. So it's just going to speed up some of your Sage 100 processes. Next, for this user group, we have promotion pricing on all of these enhancements that I just reviewed. So it's going to be 15% off perpetual pricing or 25% off the first year subscription, and that's going to be valid into the end of November. We also have an additional group, and I can show this off towards the end of the meeting, where we have promotion pricing running for all users, and that's going to be on our security group, and I can review that at the end, but this is special pricing for this user conference. And I'm going to go ahead and jump into a demo of all of the products. All right, so the first one is I'm just going to review our InstaDocs product a little bit here. And I'm actually going to start in setup and show off some of those new features or explain some of the new features. So one of them, I don't know if it's too new, but it does take some explanation. There's a generate one email per customer invoice batch. So if you have this checked, it will send only one email per customer for each of their invoices. So if you're using the paperless office features along with InstaDocs, it will go ahead and generate one email per customer per batch. And there's one other additional setup with this one, and it's going to be under your customer and customer maintenance, where there's another checkbox to generate one email per. So it can be a by customer basis, and that's set up in customer maintenance. The next one that's new to this screen is your use reserved word tag. So if you're utilizing our paperless office, it's only going to send the document that you have the reserved word on. So a lot of people were dragging and dropping documents, but there may be some documents that you do not want emailed out to the user that you're strictly putting on the order or the invoice for reference purposes for internal reasons, and that's not necessarily something you would want emailed out. So we do have the reserved word tag, so anything that does have the reserved word that you choose will be emailed out. I typically check it, and I like to use the email tag. So that's the document you know you want to email out. The only other thing, and this has been out for a few versions, but the prompt, if you get the auto create PDF, you can have it go automatically to yes, so you're not answering that InstaDocs prompt anymore, and it automatically generates those documents for you. So I'm just gonna run through a quick order process so we can see everything that I just talked about. The first thing is in customer maintenance, I just want to point out that 1 email per invoice batch right here. So if you go ahead and have that checked, it would send out 1 email per customer per batch. But everything in your order entry is the same. You'll just notice you've got your tab 6 of your InstaDocs. I'm just going to create a line here. And then again, it's your standard just drag and drop. So if I go and I want to pull my manuals in, the screen is too big. So here's my document, and if I check this attached tag documents to email deliveries, this document that I have dragged and dropped will be emailed out. Again, that's where the tag could come into place. So if you were dropping multiple documents here and you only wanted 1 to go, you could come over here and tag it with that email tag, and just that document would go. And note that there are those auto tagging features, so you've got your order number already linked with that document that you dragged and dropped in. So I'm just going to go ahead and print the order really quick. I'll get this emailed to me. And then I have it set to prompt for that, do you want to generate invoice? So this is what I was talking about. You can automatically have it say yes. And what that does is if we go back into the order, your tab 6 of your InstaDocs has that PDF of your order in. Again, from this screen, it's just a double click and you get to that document. All right, while we wait for that email to come through, I'm going to just jump into the invoice process here. It's really came through. There you go. Drag it over. So you can see that I got the, oh, that's not the new one. Sorry, I was testing before this meeting. This one. So you can see that the order of 177 that I just did and the PDF that I dragged and dropped, both documents were sent with our paperless office features, again, utilizing that InstaDocs. So same thing, I just want to show off invoices really quick. Oop, not AR. And what's really nice at the invoicing stage is we do get the full picture. So this document I dragged and dropped in the sales order process, and my sales order document also flows through my invoice. Again, at this point, you do have the option to attach tag documents to email deliveries again. So when I do this, the order is going to be sent again, the document I dragged and dropped is going to be sent again, and the invoice document will be sent again. So here's where maybe you wouldn't necessarily want both of these to be sent again, so you wouldn't give them that email tag or that reserved word tag, and just the invoice would go out. And again, up to you, but I'll show off having all of them go. And some users, it's nice to have the full picture and they like all of them sent again. So it's really your company preference. Sorry, this is a recently new demo data, so I don't know if my invoicing are set up for paperless, but I have that test really quick. So again, it would be the sales order, document I dragged, and the invoice. So that's InstaDocs. I'm going to jump into payroll really quick and show off the new Payroll InstaDocs. So this is good for new hire paperwork and keeping track of employee documents and driver's license pictures, anything you might keep, like an employee photo. And then here again, you can get to all their check stubs. So if I double click on this one, I can see that check stub. So it works, all InstaDocs products work generally the same throughout the system. So if you guys are used to using InstaDocs elsewhere in your company, then payroll will be no different for you. So again, I'll hop into a data entry real quick. Sorry, every time I click up there, the little Zoom meeting box is there. So I can have all my entries. So if you have time cards or any supporting documents on this data entry, you could go ahead and scan and drag and drop those in. So you, instead of putting them in a file or throwing them away, you at least have some reference point to go back to when we're running this payroll. So you could at this point grab that document and drag and drop it in. So we'll pretend that was a time card and I just went and dragged and dropped it in, and then it would follow that employee all through. It would be saved under their direct employee directory and would be associated with this entry. So in this case, I believe in settings it looks like I have it set up as the employee number and looks like their entry number maybe. I'd have to look in my settings of how that's set up. But again, you can see it comes from payroll data entry, the user, and date and time, just like all of the other systems. So that's the Payroll InstaDocs. The next one, since we're in payroll, that I will jump to is the Check History Inquiry. So if I go ahead and look up an employee and look up a check, I'll first go over the Check History Inquiry so you can see all of your banking information, your check totals, and your taxes. Then you can go to your lines and see all of your earnings and deductions that were on the lines for that check entry. And then you do have your check detail button up here. So this will take you to all of your tax information and deductions a little more in depth. The next thing is tab 3 of your InstaDocs. So you do have under your check history, you have that 4044 check number that is linked to that history inquiry, so that we do have both of those enhancements working together, which is a nice feature. All right, I'm taking a peek at the chat. I don't see anything. So I will hop on and go to my cash receipts history inquiry. And all right, so here's a nice one. There's just no quick way to get to your cash receipts currently in Sage, so it has been really helpful to users. So you can see the deposit information, the type, the source journal, and you can drill down onto that source journal, which is nice. And the cash amounts, credit card amounts, and the total deposit. This one I have ABF, and I can see their invoices associated with that entry that was paid in this cash receipts. So this window, if I click on ABF, it shows the invoice, and from here I can see that information. If I scroll over, I believe, yep. So I have an entry here that had multiple customers on it, and so this screen in the top screen are going to change what customer you're on. So ABF, you can see I paid 2 invoices under this entry. And then if I go to my AvNet, it's going to change this bottom screen and display the invoice that was paid for AvNet. So these two grids kind of play off of each other. All right, and our last history screen is our BankRec. So, and this one is a really nice history one. Let me jump into, see, I just have a simple check entry. I just have a $10 check here that I'm going to go ahead and clear and show off that history. So I'm just going to run my report. Okay, so I went ahead and got that one check cleared. So I have my BankRec Transaction History Inquiry here. And I'm just going to go into my bank code C. And you can see that my $10 check has been sent to my history inquiry. So normal BankRec goes ahead and just clears those entries. They're lost forever. So what your history inquiry is going to do is it just that gives you your history. But the other neat feature within this product is, for whatever reason, if something was cleared and it wasn't supposed to be and you need to get it back, there is this little restore button up here. So if I have my highlighted field and I go ahead and click this restore, it says, do you want to restore this transaction record? And I say yes. It removes it from the history and sends it back up into my bank. All right. I did my history inquiries, and then I have 2 more, my auto-generate transactions. But before that, I'm going to jump and show off the Criterion link. And so I have my Criterion open. So some of you users that have Criterion, this would be for you. So if I drill down to my payroll, actually have myself set up somewhere. Here we go. So everything will be set up in Criterion, and you can go ahead and go into your employee maintenance. I'm actually, for the sake of testing, I'm going to delete this one really quick. Okay, so 55,800. I'll set up a new one. And so your link between your Criterion and your Sage is going to be the social security number. So I will leave 22. At this point, I entered my new employee number and my social security number. I can go ahead and select this Criterion link button. Let's go ahead and search and pull in all of that information that was from Criterion. At this point, if I move around and save the screen, everything's going to be locked into a read-only. That takes your data and it's going to all be managed from your Criterion side of things, and will sync back into Sage when you run the synchronization. There's 3 ways to do that within Sage. You can come in here and run this Criterion link button. Before you run your tax calculation in payroll, when you're running payroll, it will ask you if you want to sync your Criterion. You can go ahead and say yes, then it will give you a report. And then lastly, there is, let me save all these real quick. There is on the menu your Criterion employee synchronization. So let me jump back into Criterion and let's just go ahead and change something. save that. And I'm just going to run this for my employee number because I'm not sure what else would show up to sync in my demo data. And it says you're going to want a synchronization report, and go ahead and say yes. So it does go ahead and show off that I had my new field name and I added my middle name there. So it does go and show you the original, which is nothing, and the new field value. All right, so that was the Criterion link. Any questions here? I do have to change test systems for the last two. They're just on a separate system. So give me a second. All right, and so these last two are auto-generate. So I'm just going to jump to customer maintenance. If I jump to my invoices tab and I highlight an invoice that has a balance, you'll see that I do get this green $sign here. This screen has also been changed to allow for multiple selects. So if I hold my control down and I select multiple invoices, it's going to disable all of your other features, but leaves the new generate cash receipts $sign here. And so I can go ahead and select that. And it's going to have my invoices and totaling. And do you want to proceed? Yes or no? The only other feature that I want to show off is it does account if you have your batches turned on. So we'll ask you to create or select a current batch and accept that. It's going to give it a deposit number. It's going to ask for your check number, everything that you're used to. And at this point, you can hit accept and it will actually take you to the cash receipts. Or if you do check this checkbox for silent, it's going to go ahead and create that cash receipts entry, but it is not going to take you into cash receipts. It will just be silent entry. So I'm going to uncheck that and show you that it will go ahead and take you into your cash receipts, and you can see that your lines are generated. From here, you can say, oh shoot, I forgot to check, and go ahead and look it up and add it to the entry. And then you are all set. Again, same thing. Here's the auto generate check one from the vendor side of things. So if I go into my invoices, again, new $sign, and this is also allows for multiple select. So if I go ahead and hit my $sign, and do you want to pay selected invoices, yes, no, or pay silent? So on this one, I can just go ahead and click the pay silent, and you'll see that it took me there, and it went and it generated that check entry. So to take my word for it, but we will go ahead and jump into, and you can see that it did go ahead and generate my entry. Any questions? Let me take a look at the chat here. All right, I've got one here. Are any other InstaDocs modules required with the purchase of Payroll InstaDocs? So that's a good question. We have Payroll InstaDocs is not required with any other modules. So if you don't currently have InstaDocs, but you want payroll, no other modules are required. If you are interested in InstaDocs, you do note that accounts receivable is required in order to have sales order because your customer is stemmed from accounts receivable. So you need to have InstaDocs for AR in order to have sales order. Same thing on the payable side. You have to have accounts payable in order to have purchase order InstaDocs. Those are the ones that go hand in hand. Everything else you can have separately. And looks like I got another one. Where can I find information on your website regarding all of these enhancements? Awesome. Let me go ahead and pull up. So if you're on DSDinc.com, if you go onto the Enhancements tab down to Marketplace, this is our new Marketplace. So you can see our top Sage enhancements here. You can go ahead and search by name or code. So we just went over PRDM. And so you'll see that you can get to that by here. And I'll show off this product page a little bit. So we call this our product card. So you can see a little short description, the current version, and get to a little bit of information. But if you do go ahead and select that product card, it's going to take you to the full page of that enhancement. So you can see the longer description, you can see all the versions. So if you're doing an upgrade or downloading a new product update, you can come and see if it's compatible right here. The user manual, so if you have any questions on features or what something in your enhancement does, you can go ahead and download that user manual. And the executables are available for download on our website as well. And then tab 3 is the pricing of our enhancements. Next one, what versions of Sage are these enhancements available for? So like I said, you can see all versions available on tab 2, but you can, everything that I just showed off, I believe is at least at 6.1 or higher, if not 6.0 and higher. But everything can be upgraded, downgraded to what version you're on at no cost, as long as that product has been purchased. We will upgrade or downgrade that for you as needed. The last one, are you going to be adding any new features to the Criterion Link? Yes, we are in the works and talks and program development of adding in. I know Criterion has a time card feature, and so we're in the process of getting that to sync over into payroll data entry, so there'll be no need for manual imports or anything like that. You would be able to run a synchronization and get all of that time card data over into your payroll data entry. So that's one of the big needs that a lot of people have asked about. And so we are working on developing and getting that out into the product. The last thing I said I would touch on is we do have, aside from the specific user group promotions, is we have promotions currently running for everyone on our new advanced security, not new, but advanced security group. So we do have 9 of them, I believe. So there's security by divisions, by bank code, by GL sub-accounts, by warehouse. There's a user activity log. There's a purchase order and sales order audit tracking. Again, security by division on the AR side, security by customer, salesperson by user ID. So just some additional security there. Again, that's 15% off perpetual, 25% off subscription for any of those. If you guys are interested in additional security for your systems, as other promotions we do have going on right now as well. Sure, any other questions? The typical process for purchasing would be emailing your account manager or your consultant or whoever you're working with saying you're interested. They can get you a quote from DSD or send you any relevant information, answer any questions. If they can't answer them, they're always good about sending them on to DSD for us to get answered and back out. There are some products that we do have YouTube videos on, so if you're ever in need or wanting to see any additional information, we do have, let me jump to our enhancements playlist here. Get to some of our newer ones. So we do have a multi-currency, which is one of our top selling products, discovery video. So there's 11 multi-currency enhancements that your company could need. So this kind of helps you narrow down which ones you might need and what modules. Again, I've got a Criterion Link video, so if there's anyone that missed these, you can see that. Our marketplace tour, if you have any questions on that. Again, everything I went over today, the auto-generate, cash receipts, there's little snippets, so if someone missed it and you need to send them just a short little video instead of this full recording, you can certainly come here and do that as well. There's the Payroll InstaDocs. There's a good video on Service Center, so if that's something you guys are doing repairs and warranties and need that in your system, go ahead and take a look there. I'm trying to point out any other ones. I think that's a good starting point. We do have a good InstaDocs video. I don't know if I missed it in the list, but there is an overall InstaDocs video. So if you do want to take a look at more of the InstaDocs and a little more of the features, there is a good InstaDocs video on here as well.